78, 79. Welcome to Bad Influence. This week we're looking at football games, and we've got some of the country's top players in the studio with us to give us their opinion on the Megabyte matches.
And that includes a preview of what could be the best Mega Drive football sim ever, FIFA International Soccer. Our main review is Lawnmower Man on the SNES.
And Z comes face to feeler with the smartest robot in the universe. But first, an item about a sadly neglected part of your game system: joysticks and joypads. Now, joysticks have been around for ages, but joypads are relatively new. They were launched in 1985. This one was the start of it all, the one that came with the NES. They both do basically the same thing. They let you control the game by sending signals to the console or computer that you're operating. The most common ones are called digital, and this is how they work. Now, don't try this yourself, because we found that if you take these apart, they're jolly hard to get back together again. This is the inside of a joystick, and as you can see, there are 4 switches here. And as you move the stick, left or right or up or down, it activates one of the switches. What about moving diagonally? Well, that's easy. If you move the stick diagonally, you can see that it activates 2 switches simultaneously, so the computer knows to move your sprite diagonally. Joypads work in exactly the same way. There are the 4 switches for up, down, left and right, although in the case of a joypad, there's no stick to move, just your thumb moving around on the D-pad.
This joystick's completely different to Andy's. It's called an analog joystick, and it works with entirely different principles. But I'll leave myself cruising along there. I'll show you this one that's been taken apart. The bits to watch are these silver metal bits. Now, if I waggle the joystick around, remember how they move and where they move. This plate is normally up like this when the joystick's assembled. And if I take it down again, you'll see there's a black metal strip along here. And these silver bits rub along the black metal strip and register different voltages. And that's what sends the signal to the computer. Sounds complicated, but basically it works on the same lines as the volume control. Analog joysticks are more expensive than digital ones, but they are really good for flight sims and other games where you need smoothness of movement and accuracy.
Of course, for a shooting game, the ultimate accessory is something to really shoot with. This is the Mega Drive's version. It's called the Menacer. It works just like the remote control on your TV screen. It sends out infrared beams that are picked up by a detector that you plug into the console. You may have used one of these. You may have thought, what a great bit of new technology. But no, these things have been around a long time. This one is nearly 12 years old. It works with the Sinclair Spectrum, one of the very first home computers. They're good fun to play with, and the technology's really neat, but I still don't think that anybody's come up with a decent game.
And finally, squeak squeak, there's the mouse. They usually come with computers and are really good for thinking games, like ones that you have to move a pointer around a screen and click on various icons or little pictures at the side. Now, if I take the top off, you'll see how it works. It's quite simple, really. As I move the mouse around the table, you can see that grey ball in the middle is moving around and moving against these 2 black rollers at the side, like that. And that's how the computer knows what to do.
And the controllers are getting more and more sophisticated. You can now get programmable joypads, like this one. These can store combinations of moves, so they're useful for beat-em-up games like Street Fighter 2. And flight sim joysticks are getting funky too. They range from things like this one, which is for like fighting games with the pop-up fire button control cover, to this one, which is for more chug-along stuff like, I don't know, flying a 747 or something. Racing games have their own special controllers too. This is called the freewheel, and this has switches inside that detect your movement, and therefore how the car should respond on the screen. But the latest ones let you use your whole body. This one's called the Activator. It was tested by Z at a computer fair in January. It's just been launched in the States. It uses infrared beams to track your body movements. Mind you, I'm not sure Z's special moves are as frightening as Chun-Li's, are you?
Our main review this week is Lawnmower Man on the SNES, the game based on the film that made virtual reality the talking point of last year. The game can't offer you real VR, but it does boast 5 different styles of gameplay and a chance to pit your wits against the evil Lawnmower Man. You can choose to play Dr. Angelo or his assistant. Their VR experiments have gone horribly wrong and turned a mild-mannered gardener into a raving cyber monster. It's out on the Game Boy and Mega Drive early next year, and this is what the handheld version looks like. Here's Alex, though, with his views on the SNES game.
As film conversions go, this one's pretty good, and the different styles of gameplay really hold it together. There's some nice touches in this game. I mean, look at the way the car goes down there. This is level 1, the basic platform. You can shoot the dustbins and you collect things like bonuses on those CD data cards, and then you shoot the Lawnmower Man's henchmen, all these soldiers. What I've got to do on this level is fight my way through to the warp gate at the end. Access is denied at the moment, but if I shoot it, then I can go into the cyber world. Here I've warped through into a virtual world, What you've got to do is fly through the holes in the wall. It's quite hard though, because just one touch on the sides and you'll zap all the way back to the beginning. I think they could have put a bit more detail in. This is the level that really reminded me of the film. What I've done is I've moved into the computer to fight Joe face to face, as it were. I think this gameplay puts a little bit more variety into the game. This is one of my favourite levels. There's loads to do in this game, and the gameplay certainly varied, but the graphics are a bit basic.
This really didn't grab me. Great music, but the graphics aren't exciting.
I like this. I'd rather play the game than watch the film.
And so the final scores for Lawnmower Man. The girls gave it an average 3 out of 5. The boys won better, 4 out of 5.
Hello, slimy furtlers. A lot of people ask me why they never see the fourth wall of the shed. They see this wall, and they see this wall, and they see this wall, but they never see that wall. So, I borrowed a video camera so I can show you what it looks like. But first, a quick cheat for Cal Ripken's baseball on the SNES. First of all, select a team. So, San Francisco, yes. And then hold down L, R, and start. And all the players on your team will be an identical copy of the greatest baseball star who ever lived. Right, now time for the fourth wall. Here we go then. There we are on the monitor. Interesting, eh? Right. There we go. Yes, there's some shelves there and some furtling equipment. And over here we've got, my other window. And my furtling jacket, yes.
I'm glad there's a fourth wall to keep him in. This week Z's in Boston. He's going to see a company called IS Robotics and make an entirely new sort of robot. He starts his report, though, in the Boston Computer Museum.
In the early days of robotics, scientists made robots in their own image and tried to copy some of the way we do things, like walking, for instance. The second generation of machines was simpler and designed to do one or more simple tasks very well, with no attempt to make them intelligent. But there is still no machine that knows what a 6-year-old knows. IS Robotics have been developing a different kind of robot, which looks more like an insect. Genghis has simple motivations, just like an ant. He walks until he meets an obstacle, then tries to overcome it. Although he may not be much to look at, Genghis 2 is one of the most intelligent robots ever built. His brain is made up of 4 computers, which control all of his functions, including the 12 precise motors in his 6 legs. He knows where he is in his environment from a battery of sensors. He can pick up changes in the heat field to know where people and animals are. He has infrared sensors to pinpoint solid objects, and there are force sensors on his legs, which tell him when he's pushing hard against something. Not forgetting this, which tells him when he's on the level. But this is the clever bit. Because Genghis knows better than to keep making the same mistake, if he meets an obstacle, he is programmed to try and get out of trouble.
If it senses obstacles with its antennas, it will reverse and go the other way. It can also sense objects with its legs. If a leg is stalled, on the next step it will lift its leg higher, so it's able to climb over a higher obstacle. Then, if the leg is stalled more than twice in a row, it knows that the obstacle is too high to climb over, so it will reverse and try a different path.
Nero is Genghis's big brother. He's got more of everything and knows where he is even better. He knows if his feet are touching the ground or in the air, and exactly where in space they are. He carries this video camera and can pick up things with this manipulator system. So he goes a lot of places where either humans wouldn't want to go or couldn't get to at all.
IS Robotics would like to create autonomous robotic systems that can do things that humans shouldn't be doing. For example, going in and inspecting the welds in nuclear power plants.
This is one of the most inhospitable places in the solar system, the planet Venus. It's just the sort of place that needs robots, and that's why characters like Genghis 2 and Nero are the subject of so much research.
In 10 years' time, you might have similar but much smaller robots in your own home to run around and clean up after you. At least that's the plan, and it gets my vote. Now for this week's news and